Kaboom!
If you didn't see it, eBay sent out an email today letting folks know that they have banned PWCC because of what they've identified as shill bidding happening on their account. I believe PWCC is their largest sports card seller.
It might be. Or Probstein, Rick Probstein.
Yeah, that's true. Well, let's start with your immediate reactions to that. When you saw it, what went through your mind?
Immediately, I went, it's about damn time. Was my immediate reaction. Maybe we should define for people what shill bidding is. There are some people out there that may not know what shill bidding is.
Yeah, why don't you do that?
So the idea is simple. You put an auction out and you have someone phantom bid essentially on an item to drive up or artificially inflate the price. And that's shilling. For the simplest explanation I can give it is that.
Yeah. I don't think anyone has doubted that's gone on forever, right, on eBay. And I think most people in the hobby would have, like guys like you and me, knew PWCC was doing this crap.
And there are others that are doing it too. There's no question.
100%. And I think my immediate response was, agree with you, it's about time. But second was, this accelerates this idea of price collapsing so much faster when that little top line, that 20-30% bumps you're getting on certain mini cards is gone overnight. Like, you're going to see comps drop tomorrow on most cards.
Yeah.
Big deal.
And I think you also have to play into the fact that there's so many new guys in the hobby.
Yeah.
And the people may not understand, this has been a ongoing controversy for some time. This isn't new. It's new to people that are new to the hobby potentially. And I think, like anything else, any other type of investment or whatever, once you lose public confidence in the system, that's the beginning of the end, right?
100%. 100%. Yeah. I mean, total rug pull from eBay. Do you find the timing ironic? Do you find it ironic that it didn't happen at the kind of the cusp of the market for exploding versus kind of like when it's come back down to reality and all of a sudden it's, now we can do it?
No, I don't think that's way deep conspiracy theory. I don't know. I think this is just the tip of the iceberg for what is going to come out. I mean, there's rumors that PWCC is being investigated by the FBI for selling trimmed cards, knowingly selling trimmed cards, collusion there with other people and collusion with pricing. And, for a long-standing joke in the collector part of the hobby is, well, what's the comp? It's this. Well, that's a PWCC art. Don't even count that. Like, that's been shilled. You can't really even use that as a fair comp. And here's a question for you, Ty. I don't remember seeing this in the eBay discussion about this, but how many hundreds and thousands or millions of dollars worth of additional money was paid by collectors for cards that they never should have paid? They should have gotten much better deals on cards. What's the recourse for those people, if any?
There's none. There's no
recourse.
They just overpaid. And I mean, yeah, I mean, the effects, the ripple effects that this has had on prices forever, but specifically the last year and a half, I think, like you said, have cost, not just on eBay, but at shows. When someone goes to a show and said the comp was this and I'm going to pay this.
Right. Yeah.
PWCC made and lost people lots and lots of money. I mean, no doubt.
I know good friends of mine that have sent in legit cards that they've owned forever to PWCC to get consign to them, because they know they're going to get the highest money. None of them ever said, I hope they shill my auctions. I mean, that honestly, nobody wants, you want to get a fair price for your card, but you want it to be on the up and up. I think most of us would say that that's how we want it to be if you were selling cards. And so it's a sad day for the hobby, really, because you finally take the wool like off the eye, like, okay, yep. I mean, we all knew it was happening, but it's kind of like, oh man, this hobby does not need a black eye like this right now, when we just come off the national and the high and the, all the excitement and buzz and awesomeness of the national.
Yeah.
You have something like this. So that's what I think is interesting timing.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think the silver lining here for eBay is that I think overall it probably strengthens their position in the hobby. I think by them saying, hey, look, although PWCC is our largest sports card seller, allegedly, from different people, we don't care. Like, we want to be credible. And the payment system they put in place and their focus on sports cards, their new app that kind of monitors things, like they're doubling down and saying, hey, look, we're not going to let the other players out there take from our business. And we're willing to cut the head off of this snake to preserve our credibility. That's pretty crazy. That's a big step by eBay.
It is ironic as I think about it, in the layout of the national. I think PWCC and eBay were right next to each other on the floor.
Wow.
Not that anybody working at the eBay booth probably knew this was going on. I mean, obviously they've been working on this and investigating this most likely for a very long time to come to this conclusion. They didn't just do this, oh, last night we found them shilling and we're going to cut them off. This has been a long time coming, probably investigating it for months and months and months, if not a year maybe or longer, to get here where we are today.
Well, that's the thing, though. It's like a shill bid should be very easy to figure out. This is not like they needed to like dig into the data for a year to find out. Someone shilled it. It was marked as not paid, or it was paid by a similar account. Like they could track that stuff so quick with the data they have. I think it's just they chose to release it now. They've known about this forever.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you think about the act of shilling, it's actually pretty easy. Let's say I put a card on there and I go, hey, Ty, go bid this up. If you win it, don't worry about it. You don't have to pay it. Just, I'm willing to lose to you. I mean, I'm saying it's so easy to shill bid, and you can do it in ways, I think, if you're smart about it. I'm not saying people should. It's terrible that anybody would do that. But I think, yes, I'm sure you can find out ways. And if they were dumb enough to get caught, but there's just no question. When you look at it, I would lose auctions back in the day when I did do PWCC auctions, which, by the way, I did a video on my baseball collector in June of 2019 saying, I'm tired of it. Too much crap. I'm not buying any more PWCC cards, and I haven't ever since. Although I've been tempted a few times because they had some really great stuff on their deal, but it's really funny to see. I had a point and I just totally lost it because I started talking about.
I'll just say this. Look, I mean, the fact that a guy like you and the whole circle of collectors in general, I think we all knew, and you could easily map out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Like the depth of our tech knowledge is, I mean, yours and I is different, of course, but I'm just telling you with 100% certainty, eBay's known about this a long time. They have the data to prove it in seconds.
Right.
But they chose to come out about it right now. So I think there's either some sort of relationship that there was a falling out between PWCC and eBay, and they decided, you know what, screw it, we're pulling the plug on this whole scheme.
Yeah.
Or they just had this planned out for a while. I think we'd be fooling ourselves to think otherwise.
Yeah. When again, I just remember what my point was earlier. I would go look at auctions by PWCC and lose. And I'd look at who the bidder was, and like 99% of their bids are all with that one seller.
Yeah.
You know, and they have thousands of bids, and I'm like,
Yeah.
well, that's painfully obvious.
Yeah.
Anybody could figure that out, including me. So you're not an idiot, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, not surprised. Good for eBay. Wish they would have done it sooner. You're right. The timing is suspicious. I don't know how they could have done it. Or I mean, they could have done it as soon as they found out about it. But do you think they gave him like a secret backdoor warning? Like, hey, dude, you better cut this out or we're cutting you off. Do you think any of that happened behind the scenes?
Oh, come on. Your largest sports card seller, and you do it a week, 2 weeks after the National when you know PWCC paid a pretty penny to be at the National. Like they probably said, hey, you got to wait for us to wrap the National up. You can't do this before.
I would tell you if you have cards at the PWCC vault, I'd be getting them out. I'd be having them shipped to you.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. What when you say fallout, there's going to be additional fallout. This is the tip of the iceberg. What do you mean by that? You think there's going to be more sellers kind of exposed to this?
For sure. I think
Okay.
more sellers. I think once eBay has pulled this Band-Aid, I think they'll be a lot quicker to the trigger on others.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't want to bring up any names because it's only speculation and not fair to bring up other sellers that have been suspected of this. But there are plenty of others that you can read about on forums. And I mean, it's all out there. I just don't need to rehash it and put myself in a precarious position to get sued for libel or slander. Which one is it? Libel or slander or both?
It's libel.
Okay. But they are not. PWCC is not the only ones doing this, or they just got caught. They're the first one. They're the first big thing to drop. I also think it might be a precursor to some other big news. Again, the FBI investigation that's been going on for years, supposedly. That's a pretty much a rumor that most people really believe is happening. And those things take forever, you know.
Yeah. Right.
Once they finally decide to bring charges, the FBI is going to have enough to put it to the bank, you know.
Yep.
They're not going to do it haphazardly. So what's next now? Like, what do you think's next for the hobby? And
well, I look at it from the analytics perspective, right? Like I mentioned earlier, I think this is just going to ripple through comps. And we know, like when you're on the upswing, it's very easy to justify paying more prices or higher prices for a card. And you got shill bidding taking things up, you know, inflating the balloon bigger and bigger and bigger. But when you're on the downswing, which we are, and I'm seeing velocity drop not just on singles, but on wax too, like modern day wax. People are figuring it out now, right? You can't go spend $40 on a select baseball blaster box, right? You can go pay SRP. That's what you can do. But I think you're going to see, once you start seeing all these prices continue to drop, and now the shill bidding is being cut out, they're just going to keep going down and down and down. Like I think we're seeing it's starting to level out very quickly, and this just helps. And I mean it, like it truly does help level things out the way it should be leveled out.
What do you say to the people that are going to look at this video as just another in the series of us downplaying and being negative about the hobby?
Look, I would say you want authenticity in this marketplace. You got to get the fake shill bidding out so that we can build a baseline again to where we know prices should be. This is the only way you do it. And anybody should want to build a true foundation with prices. And I think it's the way you do it. So,
yeah, it's of course the way ideally we want it. People should choose to pay more, not be forced to pay more, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Now, you could argue,
agreed,
if let's say I put a bid on a card at $100 and without shilling, it would have made it to 60. I'm just using an example, but it got shilled up to 90 or something, 95 or something like that. I was willing to pay 100 because that was my max bid, right? I was willing to pay up to 100, but I'm thrilled if I get it at 60. Does that so but is the real price of that card $60, or is it what I'm willing to pay as a buyer at $100? You know, you could say that shilling, it made people just pay more than they would have otherwise, period.
Exactly. It's like in the stock market, right? Where they always tell you to don't put like a stop on something, because the secondary market, level two, like those folks, they see that data,
Right.
and they strategically bring in buyers and sellers to hit those prices because they know that's the price you're willing to hit. And it's exact same thing here, right? You're just
Right. Yeah.
exposing.
Interesting. There's going to be a lot of content on YouTube about this and people throwing out their 2 cents. I hope the message that people send, and I haven't watched, I've seen videos in my feed already today. I haven't watched any of them, but I hope the theme that people have is, look, we want to have a fair hobby. We want to have an honest hobby as much as it can be. Whenever there's money involved, you're going to have crooks trying to take advantage of it. And that's just a sad truthism of life. And I'd like it to not infect the hobby that I love as much as we can avoid it. So good on, let's get all the, shysters out of here as fast as we can. I hope that's the theme, is let's get back to a real hobby that we can be proud of and not say, oh, it's a great hobby, but man, there's a lot of crooks. That's the last thing we want to hear about the hobby, right? From anyone.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
We'll see what people say. It'll be interesting, and we're not trying to
I'll
be
monitoring the comments. The comments will be interesting enough.
And, tell us what you think down below. We'd love to hear it.
Yep. Cool. All right.
Is that it for today?
That's it for today.
All right.
Have yourself a awesome, what is it, Tuesday? Wednesday?
Tuesday. It's only Tuesday.
That's right. Cool.
See you,
All right. See you, man.